U.S. and Israel striking regime sites across Iran as Operation Epic Fury continues. President Trump says negotiations are underway to end the fighting, and Iran says he's negotiating with himself. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst joins us live from Tel Aviv with the latest. Trey.
Yeah, hey, Brian, good morning. As Operation Epic Fury grinds on, there is talk of diplomacy once again across the Middle East. Egypt, Pakistan, and Turkey are reportedly leading mediations as Gulf countries come under continued Iranian attack. Tuesday, President Trump said Iran had given him a present worth a tremendous amount of money. He didn't elaborate on what the gift was, but said it's a sign they're dealing with the right people. As the framework for current negotiations is ongoing, here's what President Trump had to say.
It all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Just, I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
Iranian officials are reportedly worried that the United States is buying time before more intense operations, but the president has indicated Vice President J.D. Vance would participate in the talks aimed at ending the war. U.S. and Israeli strikes have continued over the past 24 hours, putting new pressure on the Iranian regime. And overnight, Iran launched more barrages of ballistic missiles toward Israel. One of the cluster munitions landed in a religious community just outside of Tel Aviv, wounding at least 9 people.
The Iranians plan to launch hundreds of missiles towards Israel on the first day of the operation. They fired fewer than 100 on the first day and half that amount on the second day. We disrupted these intentions and continue to disrupt them. The number of launches decreased very quickly. The average is roughly about 10 missiles per day. The regime tries to concentrate its efforts every few days and launch more broadly, mainly towards population centers.
The Iranians are still continuing their attacks against Gulf countries and Israel. There have been 4 missile barrages since midnight here. And so while there is this talk of diplomacy, Iran is not showing any serious effort to try and end this conflict. Brian.
Doesn't seem like the U.S. is either. Thanks, Trey. Here to discuss more is former speechwriter to George W. Bush, Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. Mark, you describe this effort as the ball is now on the 20-yard line in Iran's own end, but the last 20 yards are going to be the toughest. What do you mean?
That's exactly right. Look, this Operation Epic Fury has been one of the greatest military successes that we've had in my lifetime. We are absolutely dismantling their ability to project force outside of their borders. We are dismantling their terror infrastructure. We're dismantling their infrastructure of repression. They are reeling right now. And so what President Trump is doing is he's following a 2-track policy. He is negotiating with the regime and giving them the chance to capitulate while he is pummeling them relentlessly from the air. And so after 3 weeks of effectively 3 weeks of operations, we've got them at the 20-yard line. But you got to get into the end zone to score. You don't get any points for being at the 20-yard line. And so the question is, how do we finish those last 20 yards? The last 20 yards are the hardest. What's left, all the easy targets have been hit. What's left is the hardened targets, the hidden targets, the deeply buried stuff. And we're dismantling that. We have a plan to do that. But at the same time, he's giving the Iranians a chance to end this at the negotiating table, and he's right to pursue that.
Right. So we have 5,000 Marines coming in 2 separate ships. We got about between 1,000 and 3,000 from the 82nd Airborne. Is that part of scoring, in continuing your analogy, getting through that last 20 yards? And would that include opening up the strait by taking some of those islands?
Yeah, so it gives us more options, obviously, right? So, it gives us the option to. So how does this thing end? It ends with no nuclear weapons, no nuclear fissile material, no ballistic missile program, and no massacring protesters, right? And so how do you enforce that? You put the regime in a vice grip, right? And if they violate any of those terms after the kinetic operations happen, you squeeze them. And if this operation will end, the United States will effectively control Karg Island. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have to land on Karg Island, but we can control it militarily, and we will open the Strait of Hormuz, and that means we will control 96% of Iran's oil production. Right? That's like Venezuela. We will control Iran's oil, and that means we will control their economy, and then we will have the ability to strike them if they misbehave again. So they will be effectively neutered as a terrorist state,
right.
And that can be accomplished peacefully, or that can be accomplished at the negotiating table.
We just don't. I mean, we're seeing hit after hit after hit. We don't have a sense of what's happening on the ground, but there is a sense that at least 300 of the besieged have been killed. There's a sense that the people of Iran are waiting for the go sign from Israel and the U.S. to go out back into the streets again, but we don't want to see a massacre like would happen. Let's take a look at the board right now, and these are some of the most notable names that are still left. We got a lot that are dead, but there's still left. We're trying to figure out who we might be talking to through emissaries or directly. Do you have a sense of who it is? Because we keep hearing it's a parliamentary speaker, and then other people say he does not have the leverage. It's got to be someone in the IRGC. And now we hear that they rather speak with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio than Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Your thoughts?
I think that whoever we're talking to is someone who has the authority to negotiate on behalf of the regime. Trump said the other day that they gave us a gift. He didn't say what that is, but it's a proof. Whatever it was a proof that they are speaking for the government. So look, these negotiations are real. Anyone who's running around saying, "Oh, I trust Iran more than I trust Donald Trump," is an idiot.
John Brennan, the former CIA director, said that.
Yes,
those exact words.
That's one idiot. But that's one idiot. But there are many idiots running around saying that. The negotiations are real. He's right to pursue them. It doesn't mean the negotiations are going to succeed, but he's also not pausing while he's negotiating. He is pummeling them from the air relentlessly as he's doing that, and he's right to do so. Like Jack Keane says, we need another 3 weeks to finish our military targets, right? So this can end quickly with the Iranians capitulating, or we can continue, and it doesn't have to end in an agreement. It can end with their being basically neutered and defeated because we've completed our military task. Either one is fine.
Just so you know, the Gulf states are almost united in saying finish the job, especially Saudi Arabia. And the UAE is beginning to freeze their funds. So and the UK is putting together a group to open up the Strait of Hormuz and to do some mine sweeping. So the world's responding. Mark Thiessen, thanks so much.
All right, I'm going to go do my chores.
If you don't mind, yes. For Lawrence. Lawrence going to give you a list. All right?
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.